In our last video, we went over the Projects tab and opened a new project labeled Private School. In this video, we're going to explore the Employees tab and enter some employees. We have several options to accomplish that goal. We can add employees manually by selecting Add New Employee right here. We can import an employee list by selecting Import Employee File here. And once employees are entered into the program, we can create crew lists for scheduling. Let's take a look at each option. First, I'll select Add New Employee and enter an employee manually. To add an employee, you'll need to enter a first and last name. You can also enter personal information like home address and home phone number, but it's not required. You'll probably want to enter a cell phone number so your foreman can get in touch with the employee on site, although that is not required either. Next is the eligibility date. This is the date the employee will be eligible for company benefits. Some contractors, especially contractors that work out of town, have 30, 60, or 90-day probation periods before employees are eligible for company benefits. If you have such a policy, you won't want to charge your project for these expenses until they occur. By putting the eligibility date in here, the program will not bill these expenses to the project until the date arrives. For contractors that hire local employees for smaller out-of-town projects, many times the project ends before this date arrives. Next, you need to enter your labor burden amount, either as a percentage or direct cost per hour. If you'd like them to be able to enter time on their smartphone, be sure to click the Enable Web Login checkbox and enter a username and password. Personally, I give this access to everyone. Then I set a laptop in my office so they can come in at the end of the day to log their time. I also let them know that for their convenience, they can also log in on their phone. This eliminates arguments about me using their data. If they don't want to use their data, they can come in at the end of the day and use the laptop. Inevitably, everyone just uses their phone and I don't hear any complaints. If this employee is a crew leader or foreman, you'll want to give them master timesheet entry. This will enable them to log and adjust time for other workers. Next, you'll need to give them a classification by clicking the Add New Classification button here. Within the classification drop-down, there are preset selections like apprentice, journeyman, and foreman. Or you can create your own classification. You'll also need to add a wage so the program can track their cost per task. If an employee gets a merit increase in the middle of a project, simply create a new classification and adjust the wage. The program will prompt you to use that new classification on future rolling schedules. Once this is done, click Update and close the classification box. You'll notice a drop-down at the top of the new employee form that currently says Active. If employees leave your employ, you can deactivate them here. I manage projects for several companies who land a large project every now and then. They don't have enough full-time employees to staff these projects, so they often use contract labor. Many times I utilize the same contract labor with gaps between projects, so I deactivate and reactivate them as needed. This keeps my list of available crew members current for the projects I'm building and eliminate having to skip over crew members that are not even on site. It just keeps your crew list clean for each project. Even company employees that move between projects can be deactivated from projects to keep the crew list current. Click the Update Add button and your employee will be added. Let's take a look at the Import Employee file. In most cases, you can import employee files right from your accounting software. In some cases, if your accounting software is friendly, you can link to it and automatically import and update these files. If this is something you need or want to do, just give us a call and we'll help you set that up. To import a file, click the Import Employee File button. In order for the file to be imported, it needs to match this formatting. In many cases, you can export this file right from your accounting system. Sometimes you'll have to export the file from your accounting software and rearrange it a bit to match this format. A CSV file is much like an Excel spreadsheet, so rearranging it a bit is not difficult. You can check our training material for an example file that can be imported for testing. There are too many accounting systems in use to go into depth here about methods for every system, so if you need help, just give us a call. Once you have the form in the correct format, just click Browse, surf to the file on your computer, and click Upload. Lastly, once you have your employee list entered, either manually or by import, you can create crews if you like. The advantage to creating crews is that if you have crews that work together throughout your project, you can enter time for the lead employee, and the time will spill over to the rest of the crew to simplify time entry. Once entered, time can be adjusted manually for workers who've shown up late, left early, or have some other difference in hours for various reasons. It just really streamlines time entry on projects that have crews that work together day after day. To build a crew, click the Add New Crew button.